Hello lovelies, in today's video I'm sharing how to be ballerina elegant once and for all. 10 different tips that I always harken back to when I want to look and feel more elegant, and something that has stayed with me my whole life. Literally started dancing as soon as I could walk, trained and danced professionally all over the world, as well as have had a dance school for the last 15 years. So once a dancer, always a dancer, and I would love to hear if you've ever danced before. The very first tip in being ballerina elegant is not a surprise, it is beautiful posture. The good news about posture is that most people, pending any physical ailments, can achieve beautiful posture with just a few simple exercises and daily reminders. And it's a topic that I've covered in previous videos because I feel so strongly about this particular point. I think it really helps any outfit look better. It automatically gives you confidence. If you're moving in the world with a gorgeous posture, then you'll notice that you have presence and that people are treating you a little bit differently. And then that in turn gives you confidence. And then that further makes you kind of walk a little bit taller. There's a few exercises that I really recommend. Try at home, and I'll link a video below so that we don't waste a lot of time there. But essentially, you want to both work on opening up your chest and building up flexibility, and then strengthening the muscles in your back. You don't have to like set out and try to do Swan Lake, you know, in your living room to achieve this perfect posture. All you need to really see results quite quickly is just a couple minutes a day, most days. Now, alternatively, if you're the kind of person that just is too busy to even think about adding anything else on their plate, you can either buy a posture correcting bra. And the other thing that you can do is you can use a posture corrector that kind of like zaps you in the back, not like electrocutes you, but it kind of just reminds you when you're starting to slouch. I actually used this type of device during COVID when I was just feeling like I couldn't breathe properly because I wasn't moving and going anywhere. So I'll link that below, as well as any other product that I mentioned in this video. Number 2 is flawless hair and makeup. And I always struggle with my hair. My hair is unruly, it's curly, it's long, there's a lot going on. I'm growing out my bangs, for example. So I am not a hair expert. I'm not here to tell you exactly how to do your hair perfectly, but having beautiful, flawless makeup and hair is going to make you ballerina elegant. It's one of the things that we really focus on literally for an hour before a show, so that the lights reflect perfectly out of our face, not having one single piece of hair out of place. Many companies actually deduct pay if you had a loose strand of hair, or if you had your point shoe ribbons starting to unravel, you would get a pay dock, because that automatically ruins the whole mirage of perfection and fantasy that people pay to see. Spending that time when you want to look elegant to look flawless. What does that mean? Watching that your lipstick is not all over your teeth, or watching that you don't have eye crusties, that if you put eyebrows on like I do, like I have no eyebrows, so I always have to pencil them in, making sure that your eyebrows aren't smeared. It really is as simple as just carrying a mirror and doing a little checkup. We always do that when we're in the car, we're about to get to a party or something like that, but then it's always kind of keeping up throughout the night and checking ourselves again. So there's 2 things that really help me with keeping my makeup in place, and that is just setting spray. Literally, you can use any brand at all. And then in terms of hair, I actually learned about this hair shellac that I started using when I had bangs, and because I have very curly hair, and actually my stylist told me not to get bangs because of this, she was right, but when I had bangs, it was always kind of going everywhere, and so this is what I used to keep my hair in place. And anytime that I do my hair and I curl it and I want it to look flawless and frizz-free, I shellac my hair. I can't remember what it's called right now, but I'll link it below, and it literally sets your hair. It's kind of like a hair setter, if you will. So it's a very easy way to keep everything in place without having like the super stiffness of hairspray. Third thing to be ballerina elegant is actually an attitude thing, and that is that the show must go on. This is something that we're taught at a very early age when you're in a professional production. It doesn't matter if your best friend literally peed on stage, which happened to me. There was somebody, we were like angels in the Nutcracker, and the girl before me literally peed on the stage, and I had to pretend nothing happened and just keep going. Likewise, I had people sometimes falling all over the place, or I would fall, or for example, you are thrown in because you're the understudy, your foot is bleeding, which was happening half the time. It doesn't matter, the show must go on. And so I think that this is an elegance factor, because many times in life, we don't feel like showing up, and we don't feel like showing up as our best selves. You just had a fight with your spouse, or you're having a bad day with the kids or at your job, and you have to go to a party, then you have to go to a meeting, teach a class, whatever it might be. And so that mentality of the show must go on, putting your best face forward, regardless of what you're feeling inside, is something that takes practice, but gives you so much strength over time. And it's something that I always come back to. The show must go on. The reason that this is elegance, it shows a sense of consistency, and it's a very elegant quality in people. You like people that act and make you feel in a consistent way. Think of some of your favorite people, whether that's teachers or that's friends or coworkers, bosses, whoever. Consistent people in their temperament and the way they treat you and how they behave and predictable behavior are elegant people. They make you feel good about interacting with them. This is very much a part of the show must go on mentality. The fourth way to be ballerina elegant is to be demure. And now demure is unfortunately a word that was kind of exploited over the summer. It got really trendy and there was a lot of cute moments about it. But what I mean by demure is having a respect for everybody around you. And that's something that I see us losing a little bit nowadays. My kids' generation sometimes of speaking up to grown-ups in a certain way or people of authority that I wouldn't have dreamt of when I was growing up. So by trying to be demure, not in silencing your wishes or your desires, more knowing when to not say anything. And that is extremely difficult to do, especially as I get older and I feel like I have something to say about almost everything. And I have to kind of take a step back and be like, I'm not in charge. I'm not the expert here. So the underlying thing about being demure is having respect is really what it comes down to. And I just remember this whole atmosphere in the ballet studio with choreographers and different ballet masters that would come in and my artistic director, all the different things. There was so much sense of, I will speak when I'm spoken to, I will answer when I'm spoken to, and I will nod and smile, and I will be pleasant. I also experienced a lot when I visited Japan. There was this sense of reverence and like, I'm not first, I'm gonna listen to you first, I'm gonna let you finish what you're saying. That felt very elegant. An underrated way to be elegant is to have a signature look. And that is number 5 of being ballerina elegant, is having a look that works for you, that is tried and true, and that you know is gonna serve you functionally, as well as help you look your best. It's very common for dancers to have a go-to daily rehearsal and class uniform that makes them look beautiful and show off their best features as much as possible, but also be very functional, because the toil of rehearsal and the grind of the bar work, and also that's kind of the same way that I try to approach my daily wardrobe, is something that can withstand kind of like a rough and tumble environment of all the things that I need to be done, but also that presents me in my best light. An easy way to be elegant that will give you back so much time so that you don't have to spend a lot of time looking at your closet like a blank space, like looking for answers. So for example, a current signature style of mine when I travel is wide-leg trousers, a couple of layers, so I wear a tank top and a high neck, and then a blazer and a trench coat, and retro style sneakers, and a huge tote bag on top of my carry-on. That is my signature travel style right now. I'm trying to catch a flight. I don't have to spend too much time thinking about what that is. Can that get through what the itinerary requires, and will I look stylish? Because I've already vetted all of that. By the way, if you've learned anything in this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button. I'm Ziba. I've been a stylist on Instagram and here on YouTube most recently for the last 7 years, and would love to have you join the community. The 6th way to be ballerina elegant is to know the etiquette. And this sounds pretty straightforward and almost obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people throw etiquette out the window in any given situation. And it's also learning to read the room and the environment that you're in. Every single place, location, country, and occasion has a slightly different set of rules. So I always try to read ahead of time. If I'm going to a friend's club, I try to learn what the dress code is. If I'm taking my kids, for example, to Taekwondo, I try to get familiar with the policies of what the studio requires so that I know that I have to bow before I enter the studio, or I have to present my card in a certain way. That goes a long way. The next way to be ballerina elegant is to have discipline. Having discipline in your style really starts to show, and it builds confidence over time. Just be meticulous about your posture, steaming your clothes, having good hair and makeup, all of it takes discipline. It's really an underlying factor of almost all of these qualities. It starts in forming habits, and depending on habits to get you through versus willpower, because as humans, we are fragile and we want different things at different times. We are usually operating on a whim. And so if you don't have a very strong habit in place, it's easy to fall off the wagon and to lose that discipline. So developing really strong habits is key. And make sure to check out my video on habits of very stylish people and things that I started doing to become more stylish that are just easy, simple things that you can do every day to develop better style. The next important thing in being ballerina elegant is having self-care. Self-care matters because if you don't take care of yourself, then you basically can't take care of anybody else. So when you're a dancer, you really have to go home and do self-care. You have to ice your feet, you have to put icy hot on your muscles, you have to take Epsom salt baths the next morning, you have to eat right, you have to warm up, to drink the optimal amount of liquids before a performance, all of those things, self-care, so that you can go back and do what you want to do day in and day out. The reason this is elegant is because we can be the best version of ourselves and we can give so much more if we do take some time and do self-care. And self-care can oftentimes sound really ambiguous and like, what does that even mean? And it's anything that you need personally. Everybody has a different self-care routine and different things that they need to be their absolute best. Some people don't need the candle and the teacup and curling up with a book at night, and some people do. It just all depends on what that means to you. And it's not necessarily going into a frothy bubble bath. For me, a bubble bath does not relax me. It's a great time when I start to just think about my to-do list and then I can't wait to get out. For me, a bubble bath is not the answer. I would love to hear what your self-care routine is like, what you have found is your number one self-care routine thing that you do to make you your best. I think we can always get inspired from one another. The ninth way to be elegant is to do small favors without expecting anything in return. This is just such a great way to operate and something that happens a lot in the dance world because it's really such a team. Even though dance is a very individual sport, you are ultimately responsible for yourself and usually competing with the person directly next to you. But it's also a team because if you don't work as a team, then production is usually not good. And you always know that your team has your back. Like if you need eyelash glue or hairspray, or if your ribbon broke on your point shoe, you need somebody thread and needle, whatever it might be. So making little small favors, paying it forward really, really helps when it comes to being elegant. And that's one of the things that I think also works really well in the business world. They say that Abraham Lincoln basically got elected because of a series of favors that he did kind of throughout his whole career without asking anything in return. It's like, oh, you need a connection here, you know, can I bring you something to eat? Do you need me to pick up your kid? Just little favors without thinking about getting anything in return usually pays so many dividends. And it's a very unique way to be elegant because hardly anybody wants to go the extra mile nowadays. The 10th way to be ballerina elegant is by being grateful. And what I mean by that is it's very much overlooked nowadays to not write the thank you note and to not pick up the phone and call someone and thank them for a favor that they did you. So everyone is doing so much. We're all so busy that it's very rare now when I get a thank you note in the mail, and it means so much. Dancers practice gratitude a lot because they know they don't have a long time to do what they love and to dance. It's not like most art forms like writers and musicians and artists that can do their art well into their senior citizen years. Always a sense of timeliness and gratitude that it feels really acute, this mentality of we only have today, and to do our best to show up looking as good as we can for the show to go on, to give our all, and therefore to be grateful for that moment that you have. All in all, it's a very elegant way to carry yourself, and hopefully one that inspires you, because I feel like gratitude above and beyond writing a thank you note and making the call, if you really do live with a grateful heart, your life just gets so much better. I feel like blessings just kind of start to shower upon you if you truly feel grateful in your heart. It is the best way to be. And for 3 ways to be old money elegant, make sure to watch this next video. I'll see you there, and make sure to hit the subscribe button if you learned something today.